Welcome to the Therapist After Dark podcast. Ever wonder what happens when the therapy session is over? Well, we're digging into the funny, heartwarming, and surprising stories therapists have after they leave the office. Join us, two mental health professionals, every week for a dose of laughter, a touch of drama, and maybe a few shocking revelations, because therapists are people too.
Welcome to our next episode. So, current kerfuffle. Why were you late today?
I got pulled over 3 times my whole life. 3.
Are you serious?
Mhm.
Well, look at you, okay?
And every single time I've gotten out of it.
Oh my gosh.
Or lowered. Yeah. Yeah, so technically gotten out of it. Like today my car should have been towed.
So how'd you get out of it? Just like flip the hair and be like, hi, I'm a therapist.
Honestly, honesty is the best policy. I was just unapologetically myself. I was silly, like I was goofy, and I was just like, shit, I don't know, I messed up. Because my registration has been expired since November. There's no getting out of that. So at that point, right, probably old Ange would have gotten defensive, like probably immediately. But no, I was just completely my goofy little self and completely honest. And we ended up talking about the podcast. So I think we have a new viewer now.
Thank you, officer. Hopefully you tuned in. We're appreciative of you. Thank you.
Yeah. So in the spirit of therapists and coaches being human too, like we get pulled over.
We do. Oh my gosh. I just love how, like, when you text me, I was like, well, just flip your hair and turn on your charm. And it sounds like it worked.
Yes.
I was sending you vibes from over here. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Do you think that works in therapy?
Flipping your hair and turning it on? I actually don't think that it doesn't work.
Oh my God.
I definitely think that, maybe this is horrible to say, but I definitely think that charms definitely help make people feel comfortable with you, especially if you're like a new like client therapist relationship. That definitely doesn't, I don't think that it hurts.
Yeah.
To like be like, oh my God, hello, how are you?
Smile.
Hello, I'm so cute.
I will say I do repost this Australian man a lot on one of my accounts. And he's so cute, he's so charming, and the Australian accent is just chef's kiss. But he made a video about like people pleasing, and I talk to my clients about people pleasing all the time. But if it's him in that room, they'd be like, I'll do whatever you say.
This brings me to a really good question. Are you ready?
Oh God.
Have you ever found one of your clients attractive? And if you have, what have you done about that?
Honestly, just one. Like, physically very cute. It's my, everyone's cute today, guys. Cute. What have I done about it? Nothing.
But did you have to like talk to, like sometimes you have to process your feelings with maybe another counselor or like a supervisor or anything like that just to work through it?
I did, because I was actually working in a group practice when I started working with this client, and he followed me. And I remember telling the owner of the practice, he's so cute. This is the first time I'm experiencing that. What do I do? But I will catch myself in session sometimes getting a little smitten and like have to pinch myself.
And this is why they have laws of protection for clients where we're not allowed to actually talk to them for 2 years minimum. Actually, ethically, not ever.
Right.
But yeah, it's because of those protection laws are for our clients. Because sometimes that happens.
You
know,
I mean,
it's human nature. I mean, for
what
sure.
about you?
For sure. Not that it's happened often. It's probably been like one person, but I remember the one, he was very attractive, but for me, like he was engaged to be married and like, and she came in too, and they were like the perfect little pair. So I had some distance. I knew he wasn't like available. I just like turned that part off in my brain, but he was so good to look at. Like, okay, I really hope I can be effective in this. It's like fangirling on this. I've had friends who have had like significant crushes on their clients before.
That's weird. Sorry.
But they like, it was totally weird, but they didn't do anything about it. They couldn't at all. They were totally by the book, very professional, but like on the back end helping them process those feelings. Like they really were just like, he's exactly my type.
Wow.
And she was single. So like if it was any other circumstance, they would have been a perfect pair, but obviously not. And she never, like after 2 years of them not working together, it's not like she ever reached out. Super professional. But I feel like there are people out there that don't necessarily follow those rules. And that's when you get into some real kerfuffles. Okay.
Yep.
Actually, I think I had a friend. She was like an acquaintance friend. She worked with me in another department or something. And I think she ended up with her therapist.
I hear stories like that all the time.
It blows my mind.
Yeah.
I couldn't even imagine.
Yeah. What about like being friends with your therapist after?
I feel like I can be friends with my therapist after, but I don't think that I should be friends with my clients after. Does that make sense?
Right. Yes. Yep.
Which I'm pretty sure what most clients would think, right? Like I could totally be friends with my therapist. I think a lot of my clients would love to be like a good, close personal friend of mine. Yeah. But like I definitely think like, yeah, I could be a friend with my therapist. Yeah. I'm a therapist, so I can be friends with a therapist.
I think where I struggle with the most is I do have some clients that like I admire, like older clients.
Yeah. What do you admire about them?
Just like their journey and their accomplishments and
yeah. But I mean, it says a lot that they chose you to be their therapist, right? So clearly you must be in the same echelon.
Maybe.
Shrug shoulders.
Yeah. Oh, the cute boys. Sorry.
No, thank you.
No. I could be smitten, but
was the cop a cutie?
That's cute.
So that helps.
I feel like I might have even known him too. I don't know.
Really?
It's very familiar.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Again, just being yourself, right? I mean, even if it isn't.
Well, I feel like we wouldn't do this justice if we didn't take in like cultural context, because obviously as a woman of color, I don't necessarily think it's the same for me.
Right.
I don't think it's like that bad for me in comparison to others.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely think that there have been times where I thought my cuteness would have gotten me out of it, and it didn't. I had because I'm charming and sweet and fun.
Charming and sweet.
fun. I'm all the things. And I was myself and I was honest, but it didn't necessarily like they were kind, but I still got my ticket. They were like, oh yeah, like it's not like they were just like, oh, it's okay, pat on the back, get on. So I think that culturally, it's just appropriate for us to talk about that, and how it's not everyone's lived experience, but for those who get to experience that, I'm proud of you. Thank for you.
Yeah. I know I have that. I guess that I don't know.
Well, it's a privilege, but it's a privilege that's not like you. I think it's hard to understand that it's a privilege when you were just born in that body. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think that that's part of the conversation too. Yeah. It's like, it is a privilege in comparison to others, but maybe it doesn't feel that way because it's just your body. This is just how I was born. Right. And it's not like you treat anybody differently, by you don't utilize your privilege to hurt others. And I just think that that's like the hard part of the conversation is like, especially when I talk to people about like racial stuff. Yeah. I think that that's like the hardest thing for them to understand is like, well, I don't understand how I'm privileged. And like the only reason why you don't understand is because your lived experience is totally different from mine. Right. But can you just agree that my lived experience is different? Right. And I feel like a lot of people who are very strong in their opinion, like want to question me on my lived experience. I'm like, but that doesn't make any sense. I don't question you for yours.
Well, think about why the person's doing that too, because to think about, how we could be in the same situation and you're treated much differently, that feels unsafe. Like, because that person doesn't want to be treated that way. Right. So it's coming through their own. Yeah. Like
it's still about them.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. It's still about them.
Exactly. And so we could say like, put yourself in someone else's shoes, but unless you've lived their life, their experience, you don't know what that feels like. Cool. And I'll even admit, like, that really didn't even cross my mind. I was thinking of pretty privilege. I was like, all right, my hair's done, my makeup's on.
I'm looking good.
Yeah. But it didn't really cross my mind.
And it was funny because honestly, when I was talking to you about it, I was thinking pretty privileged too. Because we do have a few, I just add myself in there. We do have a set of privileges that maybe some other people don't. But it was interesting when we brought it up on the podcast, I needed to make sure that we were very clear about like understanding the difference. Yeah. Because as therapists, we're sensitive to those things. We understand those things. And even if you didn't think about it in the moment, you at least have the awareness to have a conversation in context about it. Right?
Yeah.
So, wild. Have you had any, one thing I've noticed So a lot of my colleagues may not have as much experience with other ethnicities,
Right.
especially, and I'll preface this with I work in a lot of predominantly white areas.
Right.
So Denver, Colorado, predominantly white. Newport, I'm like one of the only.
Well, I was shocked when I moved here. I was like, everyone looks the same.
I know you're from Jersey and New York, like it's very, very mixed. Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely. Well, have you so I don't know if you have any other clients that are outside of your race, and if you have ever found any, like I don't know, like I wouldn't even say resistance, but has
No.
it been easy to join in?
I mean, I would say yes and no, and on both sides. When not currently, in my previous job, and it doesn't matter where I was working, but I'm just trying to think. So definitely, so where I grew up, it's you think of America, you think of the melting pot, right?
Yeah.
There's every
Everybody.
culture, every
Yeah.
race, yeah, like which means every food.
Give credit where it's due.
So like me working with someone outside my race, isn't out of the norm. Like I in grad school, like all my internships, everything was out. Like
Yeah, other
I had-
ethnicities,
right,
yeah.
every single ethnicity you could think of, like I worked with,
Mhm.
right? So it wasn't until like I moved here, where mostly my clients were white, when I kind of started feeling like a little bit off, maybe myself, like when I did meet with someone with a different ethnicity or a different race, because I felt like I was like out of practice in a weird
Oh, yeah, I get that.
and I also feel like, I mean, them too. Like I was younger too. Like, what is this young little white girl gonna tell me? Right?
Yeah.
Like what? Like like someone who's been through so much. Because there's a lot of poverty in the state that we live in. A lot. And
Yeah.
there's a lot of poverty everywhere,
Yeah.
regardless of race. Especially in Rhode Island, regardless of race, there's a
Yeah.
lot of white people in poverty in Rhode Island.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say, I don't know. It was a thought in my mind because I was so used to it with my schooling and my academic years. And then when it came here, it just became a little bit more apparent because it was, I guess, less.
Yeah.
And then I also like, you want to make sure that the person you're with is comfortable.
Yeah.
I always thought that too. Like,
Yeah.
am I enough for this person?
Yeah. Like, am I a good fit for you?
Right.
Can I really meet your needs where
Right.
you are?
Right.
Yeah. No, I totally get that. I mean, like, I totally didn't mean for this conversation to go here. So I'm sorry for catching you off guard because I did not preface her at all. I just kind of like brought us to this place. But I think it's important. I think, especially considering, you and I are really close.
Yeah.
And we're also different ethnicities. And this, like, we don't really think about it on a day to day, but it still affects us in some capacity, And so I think having an understanding like how that affects us as therapists and our decision to either take a client on or refer a client out or even the healthier thing to do is to give the option but also do your work and study about a particular ethnic culture or whatever.
Definitely. Or ask the client, tell me what I need to know about your culture. Right.
Yeah.
I mean, every culture is different. There's every culture.
Absolutely.
But if someone comes to you and they're like, I want to break this cycle, this is what I'm used to.
Right.
Because of my family, whatever it may be.
We're all human there.
Right. Sometimes seeing someone outside of that is helpful.
Yeah. Yeah, because I can provide a different perspective. I mean, it happens to me too. Like, I mean, obviously, a lot of my clients are Caucasian, but I also have worked with a lot of different ethnicities. And it is important for me to ask, like, especially in the beginning, because I do a lot of, spiritual work too. So asking like, well, what do you practice? What do you believe? And making sure that I use those terms, versus me just being like, God this, Jesus that, or like the universe this, right? Not everybody is there.
Right.
And I think that's the one thing that we have that is such a privilege for us as therapists is that we get access to so many different cultures and viewpoints. Just from our job, and it's access. It's not just like the surface level, like, what food do you eat? That's great too. But yeah,
I think I say that all the time. I feel like as a therapist, I have such a deeper or broader or maybe both. I feel like understanding about how other people live in this world. So a very narrow view of what life is and how it should be lived,
Yeah.
when there's so many ways that life can be lived. And I feel like opening yourself up to other cultures, ethnicities, races, like it really, and diving deep into those places with those people, like it really just opens up your mind as a
Yeah.
person.
It makes life more like colorful and more
Yeah.
beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And I also feel like I don't know, even like beyond that, having this again, like this privilege of just like access to the human experience. And
Yeah.
then what that does is that it allows us to see how similar we are,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, honestly, if you're dealing with a toxic relationship, you could be purple and it's all the same. Like it doesn't even matter.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like we all have experienced, and I've experienced the same type of client in all different
All over.
ethnic
Mhm.
backgrounds.
Mhm.
And it just really, to me, it humbles me so much to know, wow, we are so similar. And I wish other people had access to this like we do, because maybe the world would be a little different. I don't know. Anyway,
We're not here to change the world. Just
maybe the one life that we change ends up changing the world. Who knows?
yeah, maybe.
Maybe.
Anyway, anywho, speaking of the universe,
Ooh.
we are in the middle of our, I think it's the lunar eclipse, and we're leading up to the solar eclipse. Right?
Mhm, girl.
Okay.
And Mercury retrograde's coming out hot sometime. It may already have happened. I don't even know. Pretty sure it's around this time.
I don't know so much about the cosmos,
Let's
but
see.
I do know that something's going on.
Well, tell me how you know.
A few things. So my phone has been ringing off the hook for new clients.
Yep, that's true.
Since March, like 20, what was it? Like 23rd, around that, 25th? Was that, what was the Monday? The 25th. Yes, March 25th. Am I supposed to say dates?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been just, like, it was quiet for a while, and I was like, ah, this is nice. Because I always get worked up when I have a lot of people to get back to, and I just don't have the time to.
Yeah, there.
But I was like, oh, okay, this makes sense, right? We're in this
Period of time.
period of things are shifting. There's a big shift.
Yeah.
And also like my dog's attitude, out of this world. He's so moody.
Really?
Yeah.
Weird. I mean, dogs pick up on that stuff way more.
Yeah.
I haven't noticed anything about
Maybe
Ricky
it's
really.
me.
I mean, it's been hard for her to get outside because it's like been raining so much.
Yeah.
So we haven't gone on like our normal like morning walks because
Oh.
it's been raining. But
Yeah.
I know you probably go rain or shine because you
I
have to.
was soaking wet this morning. 2 hours out in the rain. Okay.
Yeah. It happens when you have a big dog.
Yeah.
Ones. They're in the backyard.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I agree. I definitely think that there have been clients that have been coming out a little bit more. I think there's like a reckoning happening. I know I felt it in my life where, I mean, I just got out, like I told, I'm all right now.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
I
Are
didn't
you okay?
connect it to the lunar eclipse, but
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that must have been around the same time as I said.
So
like,
there-
peace out.
They're saying this is a time of like shedding things that don't feel right.
Yeah, well, there
Yeah.
you go. Yeah.
And then my friend sent me a TikTok the other day and was like, if you had a cycle during this, like you're a witch. I literally got my
You started?
period. Sorry, guys. Is that when, can I say that?
You can say whatever you want. This is our podcast. She's a witch on her period, you guys. Oh no.
On the 20, like on the day it started. So like I'm super
So
aligned.
you're very witchy.
And the one thing it said in that TikTok was, don't manifest anything. Like it's too strong. And we know I manifest not the best thing.
Oh my gosh.
So I've been trying really hard not to manifest things right now.
That is hilarious. Well, I mean, will you technically manifest yourself getting out of that ticket?
Yeah.
So just do it with little things, little
Okay.
tiny things. Or
Okay.
maybe you manifest yourself actually getting pulled over.
I did, because I saw the cop and I was like, he's gonna pull me over.
Well, then there. So just don't speak anything out loud.
I know.
For that.
I looked in the rear view mirror right away and I was like, he's gonna pull me over. I didn't do anything wrong. And then before I knew it, he was pulling me over.
The power of the spoken word, people.
Oh,
the power.
scary.
Yeah.
I'm
Be
a
careful.
little scared.
Why don't you say, I'm going to have
Make $1 million.
$1 million. I'm going to, what's the other thing? Sell all of your artwork at your show next weekend.
I gotta finish it first.
I'm going to finish all my artwork to sell. That's so funny.
my God.
Yeah, so Mercury retrograde is also happening April 1st to the 25th. So that's
Wow.
about to come down too.
Okay.
Which, I mean, I'm not an astrologer. You guys need to go find like Chani Nichols and like all those people who actually do that stuff.
Okay.
But what I do know about Mercury retrograde is like it's typically around like communication. things kind of slow down. Everything's kind of like revisit, rework, recheck. If you have any contracts during this time, make sure you're triple checking. But honestly, you shouldn't even sign contracts really during that period of time. It happens. I feel like life is gonna life. So like, does it really matter?
No.
Live your life. Live your life. Be mindful.
Yeah. What was happening in November when I missed my registration? Right? That's what I want to know.
Oh my gosh, that made a story time, Brittany story time. So when I was again living in LA, I got a speeding ticket going from LA to Vegas.
Okay.
Pretty sure it was going like 117. It was really dark and like I was jamming and grooving.
Were you by yourself?
Yeah, by myself. There was no road. Like it was like that long, it was a really long stretch of road. Nobody on the road. There are no farms or anything out there. It was safe to go fast. So I thought, cop pulled me over. Long story long, what was like $100 ticket. I lived with some girls at the time and they kept putting my mail underneath theirs. So I didn't even know that I got the ticket in the mail. By the time I finally got to it, it was $400. And I'm like a struggling grad student, struggling. I was pissed. I was so angry. So what was like a simple pullover ended up being like a $400 out of pocket expense that I really didn't have. And I was like, well, y'all's rent's gonna be short this month because yeah.
I'm so squirmy.
Probably during a retrograde.
Retrograde. What does that even mean?
Well, technically what it means is that like the planets look like they're going backwards, I guess. Like Mercury looks like it's going backwards, but it's not. Obviously, it's not. Yeah, I don't know anything about this stuff. I really, y'all.
We need to get on this show.
Oh, we should. Yeah, we have a friend who's an astrologer. What do you say?
I don't know.
Yeah, she's one of those people. Reads the stars and the cards
really well.
Yeah, and we should totally have her on. That's a great idea.
We have a few guest speakers we need to bring on here.
Absolutely. Maybe we'll start doing that in the next few weeks or so.
Yeah, I think we should start also getting some, what's the word I want to use? I guess ideas from our viewers, what they want us to talk about.
What do you guys want to know? That's actually a good idea. Like, what do you want to know about the life of a therapist?
Right. Or if you are a therapist or a coach, what's something that you think we should like speak on?
Yeah. Something that you've experienced too. That is important. Yeah. Oh, wild.
Yeah.
What's the craziest story that you can think of that you've experienced?
I could tell you right now.
Yeah.
My first client ever, I was in grad school in my second year, and we needed 21 hours a week. No, I think it was 21 hours a week face to face, whatever. So I was interning in a private practice. And the first client they gave me, I was in the office alone. Okay. They went home because I had to come after. Okay. In the office alone. This man was like 6'6", 6'7", like, yep. And he comes in and he looks at me, he goes, I'm a sex addict. And I said, well, that wasn't on your chart.
Oh man.
So I do this intake and he is just
laying it on.
Yep. And I'm just, so at the end of the session, thankfully, because I still am spunky, but I was like, so yeah, we're not going to be a good fit. I was like, this entire time you were like trying to me basically. I don't remember what I said, but that's what he was doing. He was trying to like bait me to like kind of play along with his like story in a way. Like he just glorified all of his sexcapades and
wow.
Yeah. And I reported the agency I worked for. Oh, on the first day. How dare you put me in a situation like that?
Yeah, the fact that they left you alone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it could have been like really bad.
Yeah. Apparently one of them was like upstairs or whatever. But like I was in
how convenient for them to say that.
Yeah. Whatever. I don't care.
That's horrible.
Also, what makes you think I'm a good fit for when my previous internship was with children?
Right.
Why would you give me a full-grown adult with a sex problem?
But if it wasn't on his chart, maybe they didn't know either.
Right. That's true. But also the full-grown adult thing too. Like I even like I wasn't ready yet. I was just working with children. I interned with elementary school the year before. So I was children.
Yeah.
Adolescents. Okay, fine.
Well, I feel like that's actually a really good point because like I the fact that they would leave you alone with the male client, especially a new intake that you didn't have any relationship with.
Right.
I mean, let alone like, I don't think there was ever, we would have those conversations at my agency. It would be like, we know that like it's late. We know that your last client is such and such. Do you feel safe staying here? Do you want somebody to stay with you? Like we would always have those conversations. There was never a point in time where they would just be like, deuces, see you later.
Yeah. No, I was just like a work mule for them. They didn't need it because they had such an overflow. And I mean,
agencies are like that though.
Right. And they were one of the few practices in that area that actually worked with underserved populations. So
okay.
Right. So like, because again, in that area predominantly, it's not even true, but it's less accessible for people, you know, maybe below the poverty line and stuff. So, but that was one of like, thank goodness that agency is there, but it was just not handled right.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, you would think that, I don't know, I'm trying to figure out how I want to say this, but like, it's important because you work with a certain, any population, truthfully, like just making sure that you are your what do you call the people who, the therapists that you hire, your employees?
Yeah. You know, or your intern who's not even a real employee.
Yeah, especially your intern who's like not even getting paid. Were you getting paid?
No, it was for school.
Some people get paid for their internship. Not I didn't. I
That was a like I was working in a private practice.
Yeah.
Interning while I was working.
Wow.
I had a full caseload.
Yeah, I did too when I interned, which is how we got our hours, which was important.
That didn't count for hours.
What?
No, it was during grad school. Your hours count after.
No, not in California.
Okay, cool. Yep. I didn't know my hours. That was the case before I graduated.
Oh my gosh. How many hours did you have for New York or whatever, New Jersey? Do you have a dual license?
I do have a Jersey license. I do have a license in
Do you have Jersey, New York, and Rhode Island?
I just have my base Jersey. I didn't get my New York one. And I have my Rhode Island license.
Okay.
So I'm a licensed social worker in New Jersey, but I'm not an independent social worker in New Jersey.
Okay.
I'm an independent social worker here, which means I could be a therapist with my Rhode Island is only 2,000 hours, thank God. Yeah.
Yeah. How much so that's all you had to worry about was the 2,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think Jersey, I don't want to miss, but I think New Jersey was 3,000.
Yeah, same with California, which is important. I feel like maybe people don't understand that, but before we like have our private practices, before we're licensed or whatever, 3,000 hours minimum client contact. So by the time you find us in our like private places, we've seen a lot of people and clocked a lot of hours.
Yeah, with very little money.
It's very important to note that. Very little money. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, so one of my cases was in my internship too. And so this older gentleman, he comes in and he's like maybe 65 or so. And, you know, he just tells me, he's like, he had a court case. And I knew that, but it didn't really give a lot of information about like what he had done, you know, like what his rehabilitation was for. And so he's like, well, we won't get to that yet. We'll get to it later. So probably about like 3 sessions in, after about 3 sessions, and he still hadn't told me what was going on, you know, I finally bring it to my, because like we had a lot of therapists. So sometimes you wouldn't necessarily get to your case in group, you know? So maybe by the time they got to me in group, which is probably like 2 to 3 sessions after I'd seen this client, my supervisor, who's a fucking badass, she's amazing. I learned so much from her. She was, wait, what? He won't tell you what he did? She's like, well, that's what Google's for. And I never even thought to Google. I'm just not that person. I won't Google dates. I've never like exes. I've never Googled anybody. Google your clients?
You're not supposed to use their information. Fine. But you could Google their name.
Yeah. Well, I think for the purpose why she did that was because of this.
Okay.
Because he was like avoided,
it's public
knowledge,
information.
and we also knew that he had a court, like he was in here for rehabilitation from the court system. So she's like, fuck that. We're gonna look this up.
Right.
So she looks it up, and it turns out he's a pedophile. It was like, and like all these things. And she's like, oh no, you will not see him ever again. He is off your case. Like, absolutely not. And she put a kibosh to it. But I remember feeling like, I can do it. I can do do it. I can do it. And she's like,
no.
your first year out of the gate,
Mhm.
barely.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
yeah, but I'll just never forget that man. Like he was so like, no more. It was so Hannibal Lecter.
Right.
So I really didn't know what I was getting into. If I'm
Yeah.
honest. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. But yeah, like, do you ever Google? So like, okay, so outside of, have you Googled? Like, do you ever look up, like when you were dating and stuff? Would you like Google people?
Honestly, no.
Yeah, me neither.
I don't really care.
Me neither.
Like, I'm more interested in the person that's in front of me. I don't know. I mean, if you were to Google me, no, don't do that.
Please.
No, I don't. Who knows what comes up? I just.
But like, I just know people who do that.
Yeah.
And I just have never thought to. I like just don't ever think to do that.
Yeah.
It's just not really my. It's not really my vibe.
Yeah.
And maybe
Well,
it's
then
good for
you're
a therapist. I don't know.
Right, but then you're going into it like not trusting this person, not taking them for who they are in the moment.
Or maybe you see something that you like, and so you project onto them like savior stuff.
I will lie. I will lie. Oh my god, I did lie.
Podcast. What's going on?
I do Google exes.
Really?
Like people's exes, not my exes, other people's exes. If I'm involved with them, I do Google the exes.
Why? Like, why is it safe for you to do that versus protect yourself by Googling
Because
someone?
I
before you
need
meet them?
to like know.
Because you're nosy.
I'm
You're just
nosy. I'm
You
a
just
little
want
nosy.
You just want the tea.
I want the tea, but I also need to be like, I need to like confirm in my head, yeah, they weren't it for them. Better. It is screams. So sorry. You know, like it helps me like rationalize, like, okay, they're not with them anymore because X, Y, and Z, clearly. But
Well, what if it's like something positive? Like, what if they're doing better because they're not with your friend? Has that ever happened?
no. My mind won't let that happen.
Can we just say that I said, have you Googled somebody versus like looking on Tinder or not Tinder? What's it called?
Yeah, Google.
Yeah, I was like, can you Google them versus like Instagram, Facebook?
Yeah, I do my crime on Facebook. Facebook and Instagram. I don't Google people. No, I didn't technically lie.
Oh my gosh, like I have a girlfriend of mine, she can find anything about anybody in like a minute. Yeah, she's good. She's so good. And she's not even a PI. No. No, you haven't met her. Maybe you will one day, but you haven't met her yet. Yeah, she was like, oh yeah, she used to like, when we would, back in the day, she would like look up everybody's people. Like, who are you dating? Okay. This is about this person. Oh, this person was dating somebody 3 days ago. See, you better watch your back, girl. She was like already always on it.
I'd be more interested in Google me. Like, what do you find? What are you finding on me, right? Rather than someone else, unless I'm sneakily doing it because I want to know if the person I'm with is exes.
Just spilling all of our secrets.
Yeah.
We hope that you enjoyed the peek behind the therapy room curtain. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and share the podcast. Until next time, remember, life's a journey, even for your therapist. Take care and see you next episode.